Hey everybody, how's it going? Steve here to welcome you to Instant Classic, Episode 3. In the last episode, a lot of you said you'd like to know what music is playing in the background of each segment, so I've added this little guy in the lower left to help you name those tunes. With that out of the way, let's continue our search for the hidden meanings in each character's classic mode route, 5 characters at a time. We've got a great lineup in this episode, including 2 of gaming's most iconic characters, so let's jump right in. Starting things off, we have none other than Wolf O'Donnell of Team Starwolf, Fox McCloud's chief rival. It's been a while since we've last seen Wolf, since he's been warming the bench since Brawl. His classic mode route is called Reunited Roster, and in it he'll be facing off against foes that have shared space with him on the bench, starting with Ice Climbers. We've talked about Ice Climbers in a previous episode, but in case you missed it, Palutena's guidance reveals that they were apparently banned from Smash for illegal teaming. It seems the rules have eased up a bit since Smash for Wii U and 3DS, since they're now back. The real world reason Ice Climbers didn't make the cut in Smash 4 was because the 3DS lacked the power to have them in the game, according to an interview Sakurai gave Famitsu in September of 2014. Having just been reinvited to the roster, Wolf is going to take out his frustrations on Popo and Nana before moving on to his next victim. After fighting it out in the cold, it's time to hit the beach as Wolf takes the fight to young Link in Great Bay. Being the savior of Termina and the child version of the Hero of Time wasn't enough to keep the pint-sized hero on the roster, and he was benched following his first appearance in Melee. Link's training taught him to deal with all manner of monsters, but apparently it wasn't enough to face off against an anthropomorphized wolf with a laser gun. Speaking of monsters, our next battle is against none other than the most pocketable of pocket monsters, Pichu, in Pokemon Stadium. Pichu was originally conceived as a clone fighter, which is basically what they called Echo Fighters back in the Melee days. Despite being on the bench much longer than Wolf, Pichu is still as happy as ever, but that won't stop Wolf from beating him down, which is just the beginning of what is apparently a deep-seated Pokemon-related grudge that'll take us through the next couple of matches. With Pichu sent back to the Pokemon Center to heal, it's on to the next round in Pokemon Stadium 2 against Squirtle. Along with Pokemon Trainer, Squirtle was dropped from the roster after its first appearance in Brawl. With Squirtle sent back to its Pokeball, it's time to take on Ivysaur at Spear Pillar. Along with Squirtle, Ivysaur has been sitting things out since Brawl along with Pokemon Trainer, and just like before, Wolf is eager to send it back to its beloved trainer. Just look out for that Vine Whip, it looks like it stings. You know what else stings? The fact that Snake didn't get any new codec calls in Ultimate. Standing before your big boss battle in this route, Snake offers Wolf a worthy challenge at Shadow Moses. Snake was dropped from Smash and Brawl alongside Wolf, and since then fans have been clamoring for his return. He's a bit more virtuous than Wolf, but he knows how to fight dirty too. Just watch out for those mines and rockets and you should be fine. In our final fight of the route, Wolf faces off against a boss that's been waiting in the wings as long as he has in Gallium. Gallium was originally introduced in Subspace Emissary, but in Ultimate it's no match for Wolf's speed. Once you've defeated it, you've effectively welcomed everybody back to Smash the only way Wolf knows how, in a flurry of claws, teeth, and laser beams. Number 2 in today's episode is our robotic operating buddy, R.O.B the Robot, grasper of plastic baubles and our collective hearts. His classic mode route is called Unreadable Expression, and as the name implies, it's all about fighters that don't exactly wear their hearts on their sleeves, or smiles on their faces for that matter. There isn't a whole lot to unpack here, so we're going to use our eye lasers to blast right through these. Our first match is against Meta Knight on the Halberd. He might be smiling, but no way we'll be able to tell with that helmet. Next is Dark Samus on Frigate Orpheon. Now, you might think we can't read her expression because of that pesky helmet, but in the case of Dark Samus, the helmet is probably better than the horrors that lie underneath. In Metroid Prime 2, Dark Samus is shown to be hiding a skull with a third eye in its forehead in it underneath that helmet. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't want to see that thing smiling at me anyway. Our third fight is a horde battle against 5 Mr. Game & Watches. This one feels like a bit of a cheat, since technically he could show a smile even if he doesn't. Maybe he's just robotic by choice. I mean, he does pass judgment on you as one of his specials. Speaking of cheats, round number 4 threw me for a loop as it's against Little Mac. Sakurai cleverly used his wireframe costume, which takes his face away. I love little details like this. I never would have guessed that Little Mac would have been in this route. Next up, we have both versions of Wii Fit Trainer in the Wii Fit Studio. R.O.B already has abs of steel, but this is about that stone cold stare, and the trainers have that in spades. Before our battle with the route's boss, R.O.B has to take a long look in the mirror as he faces a a horde battle against 6 clones. There's something heartbreaking about making these adorable robots fight, like when Robo has to fight against other R-series robots in Chrono Trigger. But if you're talking about an emotionless robot, what better way to prove it than by taking down your own kind? After that cold-blooded display of savagery, there's just one opponent left in your path, and that's none other than Gallium. Just like Meta Knight at the beginning of the route, Gallium covers its face, meaning we can't see what it's feeling, which in this case is probably a good thing, because by this point, R.O.B's proven he's going to take Gallium straight to the scrap heap. Our third combatant in this episode is none other than Donkey Kong's partner in crime, Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong's route is called Hey Little Buddy. The route's name is a reference to the way Donkey Kong refers to Diddy, which is a hint to how this route's battles go. In them, Diddy Kong assumes the role of sidekick for some of Nintendo's most recognizable characters. Starting things off, Diddy Kong teams up with Mario to take on Bowser and Bowser Jr. at Peach's castle. Sorry Luigi, but a primate flying around on a jetpack with a pistol in each hand is just a tad more terrifying than a cowardly green-clad plumber. Once Diddy's done saving the day in the Mushroom Kingdom, it's on to Norfair to help Zero Suit Samus dispatch Ridley and Dark Samus. After you're done putting the hurt on some notorious interstellar bad guys, it's on to the Unova Pokemon League to assist Zelda in her battle against Ganondorf. At first, Zelda fighting on a Pokemon stage may seem strange, but the Unova League bears a striking resemblance to Ocarina of Time's final battle against the Gerudo King. Historically, the Princess of Hyrule hasn't done so well in this matchup, but who needs Link when you have a member of the DK crew? With Demise's reincarnation sealed away once more, it's time to help Pokemon Trainer catch Mewtwo at Spear Pillar. The real question here though is, does Trainer think Diddy is a Pokemon? I'd hate to think he'll try to trap the little guy in a ball after all this is over. We'll never know what transpired after that match, but what we do know is that Diddy escaped to fight another day and is joining Kirby in a battle against Meta Knight and King Dedede in the Fountain of Dreams. Despite being one of the cutest casts in Nintendo's stable of franchises, these guys can inflict some grave harm to our primate pal. Be careful not to get eaten or stabbed and finish the fight quickly. Once you've escaped from blades and beaks alike, it's back home to assist none other than DK himself against King K. Rool. After such a long adventure, there's no place like home, but after you've put down the Kremlin King, you have one last thing to take care of, and this time you'll be bringing a sidekick of your own. The final battle of Diddy's route is against Smash's most devilish duo, Master Hand and Crazy Hand, but fear not because Diddy's brought Donkey Kong along for the ride. Those malicious mitts might be threatening when it's 2-on-1, but with some backup, they don't stand a chance. Once you've taken down the boss, you can go back to being DK's little buddy, and all is right with the universe once again. Our second to last character is one you've been asking for, none other than the Blue Blur himself, Sonic the Hedgehog. His route is called At the Speed of Sound, and in it, he'll be matching up against all sorts of speedsters with an exception or two along the way. Sonic's adventure starts right at home when Fox challenges him in Green Hill Zone. There's nothing like fighting as Sonic on this stage with that iconic theme playing in the background. In this match, it would appear Fox is taking on the role of Sonic's oldest pal, Tails, which isn't too much of an imaginative leap, considering they're both foxes, even if Mr. McCloud has only one tail. It's tempting to let the fight drag on to listen to that joyous melody, but we gotta go fast. After Fox is sent back to space, it's time to head to Mario Circuit to take on Captain Falcon. Aside from the obvious speed reference, there's also a shout out to the oft-forgotten original Sonic racing game, Sonic R, in the form of the game's main theme, Super Sonic Racing, playing in the background. After you and the Captain make it happen, it's time to make your way to New Donk City, where you'll battle a giant metal Sonic while Open Your Heart from Sonic Adventure plays in the background. Ash and I put our heads together on this one, and the likeliest scenario seems to be a throwback to Sonic Adventure's Station Square and the battle against Perfect Chaos. But there are myriad possibilities, including Metal Sonic from Sonic CD or even Mecha Sonic from Sonic 2, but the background music makes the Sonic Adventure link the obvious choice. Once you've reduced our enigmatic Metal Sonic to scrap, it's time to head to the Halberd, where you'll take on 3 Kirbys in blue, yellow, and red, while the main theme from Sonic Heroes is playing behind the action. This is an obvious reference to Sonic Heroes, in which Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles have to work together. Show those imposters, no matter how cute they may be, that they're no match for the real deal. Our next stop is the Mushroomy Kingdom to battle Sheik while 7 Rings in Hand from Sonic and the Secret Rings plays. The combination of Sheik, who is sporting a turban, and the stage lends a bit of an Arabian theme to the action, which does a great job of capturing the spirit of the game. A lot of Sonic and the Secret Rings takes place in desert-like environments, making Mushroomy Kingdom a solid choice for this fight. With Sheik left in the dust, it's on to Windy Hill Zone to face Incineroar. While he isn't a speed demon like the others, he is about as close as we can get to Zavok, Lost World's main villain. Once you take down the big red bad guy, there's just one final obstacle in your path. Like most instances in which they appear, the fight against Master Hand and Crazy Hand doesn't keep well with the theme, but none of the other bosses in Ultimate's roster do either in this case, so we'll go ahead and give it a pass. Our final fighter of this episode is Smash's newest combatant, Piranha Plant. Mario's toothy foe's route is called New Bloom, and I saved it for last because it's actually a lot like Wolf's, only this time instead of returning fighters, we'll be making our way through Smash Ultimate's newcomers. Our first fight is the first newcomer revealed for Smash Ultimate, the Inklings. Piranha Plant has to put the hurt on 8 Squid Kids in Moray Towers while Splatack from the original Splatoon plays in the background. Hopefully Piranha Plant soaked its roots a bit before heading to our next fight in Norfair, where it'll face off against Ridley and Dark Samus. Over the years, Mario has taught us that our poor plant isn't so good with fire, so make quick work of these two and move on. Out of the fire and into, well, something just as bad really. We're at Dracula's castle to take on Simon and Richter Belmont. If I were in Piranha Plant's pot, I'd be shaking in it, as these two are experts at taking out monsters. Let's just hope they aren't on their A game before taking the teeth to them. Our next fight takes us to Wind Waker's pirate ship, where we'll battle King K. Rool and Chrom in a free-for-all match. King K. Rool is right at home on a pirate ship, but throwing Chrom in here seems like a strange pairing. Regardless, that won't stop us from grounding the odd couple. Now it's time to get back on solid ground in Town and City, where you'll face off against Daisy and Isabelle. Given the sheer number of unattended villages Isabelle has had to deal with, she's a weed-pulling pro. Fortunately for you, she isn't used to weeds that'll fight back. Steal your heart and destroy the adorable pup and her princess pal before making your way to the next fight. In our last fight before this route's boss, Piranha Plant enters the ring against Kennen and Cineroar, recreating my favorite trailer of the bunch. 2 fire-based opponents is a scary proposition for our leafy friend, but by making clever use of the ropes and ramps on either side of the stage, you'll knock these 2 hotheads out no problem. We aren't quite done with hotheads yet, however, as your final fight is against Rathalos, one of Smash Ultimate's new bosses. In this David vs. Goliath scenario, you, the tiny toothy plant, will face off against the giant fire-breathing dragon to determine which is the most fearsome. Once you've slayed the beast, you can say you've rolled out the red and white polka-dotted carpet for all of Smash's newest fighters. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Instant Classic. We'll be back soon with 5 more fighters. Who would you like to see in the next episode? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for all things Smash and other things gaming as well. We'll catch you next time. Bye!